Beautiful day in Greenville, South Carolina for quarterfinal action of the SEC tournament. It begins today with the 1 seed, South Carolina, taking on the 9 seed, Kentucky, at Bon Secours Arena. As we welcome you to ESPN's Champ Week presented by Principal. You are watching the 2026 SEC Women's Tournament. Taking a look at our bracket. After this one, it'll be LSU and Oklahoma this afternoon on ESPN, and then tonight, Texas, Alabama, Vandy, Ole Miss. As we welcome you courtside. Hey everybody, Ryan Rucco alongside the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo. So happy to be with you this afternoon for quarterfinal action of the SEC tournament here on ESPN. Rebecca, for South Carolina, a top seed, familiar place for them in this tournament. And this year, Joyce Edwards, their sophomore, has really taken such a huge leap.
Joyce Edwards has been one of the many bright lights for South Carolina all season long, leading them in scoring at just under 20 a game. This 6'2" forward can run the floor, has terrific footwork. Once she gets into the paint, her finishing ability as well, just around 60% on the season, can be a menace defensively as well. She has been so good here in her sophomore campaign.
South Carolina seeking a 4th straight SEC tournament title. Now, speaking of performing well at the SEC tournament, how about Kentucky's Clara Strack through the first 2 games they have played?
How about the 6'5" center and the way she's been able to perform? You would expect her to be able to finish inside, really good footwork, has a nice fadeaway to her game as well. But then she stepped out and did a little of the unexpected. Made 5 threes in their game yesterday against Georgia. Showed that she is both a back to the basket and face-up player.
The numbers for Strack through the first 2 games of the tournament, just incredible. 26.5 points, 10.5 rebounds. As we check in with another Hall of Famer, here is Holly Rowe.
Well, you talk about Clara Strack at 6'5", and Kenny Brooks, their coach, said, our length is our strength. They have one of the tallest rosters in all of college basketball. In fact, they lead Division I with blocks, 214 on the season, and that is a menace to opponents. They have been able to impact so many games and so many opponents with that length. We should see them play a little bit more zone today because this is their 3rd game in 3 days. Kenny Brooks said that will help us in our zone defense. But Dawn Staley said, hey, I don't think they had a lot of problems with the length on Sunday in that close win. She said, I think that we just have to keep going at Clara Strack, make her defend on both sides of the court, and get her tired.
All right, Ollie, thank you very much. We'll take a look at the starting lineups for Kentucky. Tony Morgan, Asia Boone, Amelia Hassett, who are both big-time threats from 3. Tiani Key and Clara Strack round out the starting lineup for Kentucky. And for South Carolina, Raven Johnson, the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. A terrific season in her senior year. Tessa Johnson, Tanaya Latson, Joyce Edwards, Medina Okot, and you see all of them members of the 1st or 2nd team, all SEC. South Carolina, the 1st team since Tennessee back in 01 to have 5 players make either the 1st or 2nd team all conference in the SEC. One thing that Kenny Brooks talked to us about before the game, just wanting to see how his team does with fatigue after having to play each of the last 2 days. Of course, the deeper you get into this tournament, if you didn't get those buys, the more a factor that becomes. So here we go, the top overall seed, South Carolina. Kentucky, the 9 seed, and the quarterfinals of the SEC tournament are underway.
You see Kentucky starting out in a man-to-man defense, and yes, Dawn Staley said they want to attack Clara Strack, see if they can pick up some early fouls on her. You see Joyce Edwards go right at her.
Here's Morgan, played 39 minutes in yesterday's win over Georgia. Kentucky disposed of Arkansas and then outlasted Georgia yesterday. Nice poke away by Raven Johnson. Talked about Kenny Brooks, Dawn Staley, 9 SEC tournament titles in her 18th season now at South Carolina. This is a program that had just 3 wins at this tournament between 1992 and 2008 before Dawn took over. They have 34 wins and 9 titles since, as Kentucky gets on the board first.
That's where Toni Morgan can be so good. Even if there's action around her, just the direct drives to the basket.
Latson can't hit the jumper. Rebound secured by Key. And a foul as Boone went up, and she'll get 2 shots. As the foul is called against South Carolina, and Joyce Edwards picks up her first.
And one of the things to keep an eye on in this game is pace, and not only because this is Kentucky's 3rd game in 3 days, but South Carolina wants to push. They want to get up and down. When they played less than a week ago, South Carolina only had 5 fast break points in that game. They are always better when they're able to play faster.
Boone misses the first free throw. Yeah, this is what you're talking about, partner. Just way off their average when it comes to points in transition. A 3-0 start for Kentucky. Here is Johnson. These two teams played a really tight battle on Sunday. 4-point game that South Carolina won. Raven Johnson kicking it out. Tessa Johnson has been cold since her performance against LSU. Edwards can't finish, but a foul on Key. And Joyce Edwards is going to shoot 2.
Joyce Edwards, when she has a little bit of room and space to maneuver, is so dangerous, especially when she catches the ball around 15, 17 feet. She can face up, she can attack you off the bounce. Then when she picks up her dribble, really nice footwork and step throughs, that time she gets Key to foul her.
One of the things Dawn Staley has focused on with us throughout the season in regard to Joyce Edwards is her performance against the better teams, the highly ranked teams. Kentucky ranked 17th in the country entering this matchup, and she said one of the things that she's proud of with Joyce is, even though the offensive production still hasn't been great in those games, she has defended unbelievably well. And she said, well, for a lot of players who score a lot, when they don't score, you don't get that level of commitment on the defensive end. But with Joyce, you do.
And her matchup today is this one right here on Clara Strack.
And Strack travels as Kentucky turns it over. And these are the numbers we're talking about on the offensive end for Edwards versus ranked teams, and then the incredibly efficient damage she has done against unranked teams. Johnson could pass. Okad turns, gets denied by Strack. That's what Holly was talking about with the length of Kentucky on the interior. Tessa Johnson backing away, firing, no. And Morgan the rebound. Morgan up under and off, got rejected by the rim. And here comes Johnson, pushing it ahead. Edwards in transition, serves it home.
South Carolina is good getting those lead passes, those get-ahead passes, and Joyce Edwards runs the floor as well as any big in the country. You see the nice corral and finish.
She has the first 3 South Carolina points after being held to a season-low 9 against Kentucky on Sunday. Here's Boone sidestepping southpaw, can't get it to go. Okad had a little trouble with the handle, gets it into the arms of her trusted senior Raven Johnson. Latson draws 2. Leading scorer in the nation last year. Good find to Okad for the finish.
Terrific cut by Okad. She was at the free throw line, saw that Latson was in trouble, and dove to the basket and gave her a release.
And you hear and see the reactions from the crowd here in Greenville. No surprise. Tons of South Carolina fans have made the short trip. Johnson off the interception. Tessa Johnson misses the layup. Latson, what a save, and it will stay with South Carolina. Terrific effort play by Tania Latson.
When Tania Latson in the previous play picked up her dribble, you see Okad right there. There's no play here, there's just playing basketball. Recognizes that she has to do something for her teammate, makes the great cut, and then the delivery by Latson, who points at her afterwards.
Have you used that before? That was very catchy.
I don't think so.
Raven Johnson gets that one to spin in. You saw the numbers for Okad over the last 7 games, 16 points, 14 rebounds, 7 double-doubles. Raven Johnson, a career year in production. That high arcing jumper way off for Morgan. Here's Edwards in transition. Latson couldn't handle it, but at last hits Morgan will stay with South Carolina. It feels like South Carolina's able to inflict their pace right now.
You see already, it's clearly a point of emphasis to push the pace, to push the ball down the floor. The game that they played on Sunday against Kentucky did not have that same feeling of urgency when it came to their pace.
Now, Dawn Staley saying they really slowed us down, talking about what Kentucky did well against South Carolina on Sunday. Here's Latson. Stood up. Lobs it in. Edwards off to a fast start in the SEC quarterfinals.
I really like Latson's patience and her ability to just throw the ball up to her taller teammates where only they can get it.
A 9-0 run for South Carolina. Backdoor cut, knocked away by Johnson. Let's check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, you guys talked about the transition game. Dawn Staley told us we want to get about 25 to 33% of our offense in transition today. She is very aware that this is Kentucky's 4th game in 6 days. Their legs are going to go at some point in this game, and she wants to make sure they're running the court and putting pressure on their defense.
I also love the texture of her Louis Vuitton hoodie. Terrific. As Hassett buries the 3, nice play off the inbound to get Kentucky a good look. That ends the 9-0 run. You see the numbers for Hassett in the SEC tournament. Has shot it very well from 3. Hassett and Boone both big-time threats from 3 as Johnson's able to finish.
Nice attack mentality from Tessa Johnson, and we saw her get a steal earlier. She missed the layup, but she just remains aggressive going to the rim.
Second team All-SEC for the junior Johnson. Jordan Obi in off the bench, can't finish. Ocott pushing pace. Here's Maddie McDaniel, Euroing and laying.
Ryan, what you've seen to South Carolina is defensively, even in the quarter court, you see their legs and how they're able to really get out and pressure in a way that Kentucky can't because of their 3rd in 3 days.
Strack buries the long 2. Strack hit 5 threes yesterday in the win against Georgia at 33 points. Raven Johnson missed that one. Rebound ends up with Hassett. Strack became the first SEC player with 4 more threes in a game at 6'5" or taller this century. As Obi loses it, Johnson trying to win the race. McDaniel gets fouled, and Maddie McDaniel's going to shoot 2 as the personal's called against Asia Boone.
Maddie McDaniel out in transition, right, left, let him go right by. What a beautiful finish.
I looked at her and I said, you're the worst superstar I've ever coached. We had 2 workouts leading up to South Carolina, and the intensity that she had, it was like, I am never going to disappoint you again. I looked at my staff, I said, she's ready for tomorrow.
Challenged by Kenny Brooks prior to the South Carolina game, and she has responded.
Well, that challenge came before the South Carolina game on Sunday, and since then, look what Clara Strack has done. Kenny Brooks told us today, by challenging her in front of the entire team, not only has she responded and raised her level, but the team has seen her do that, and they have responded and raised their level of play. He said, I felt like I could push her that way because she's a best friend of my daughter. She's at our house constantly. I have a great relationship with her, and she wanted to come back and watch film. She had 2 of the best workouts of her career, and he said, that is what you do to superstars. You push them, and Clara herself said, I love that he did that. He sees something special in me, and he's trying to bring that out.
Well, it has come out over these last few games. So impressive. Thank you, Howell. Here's Morgan flinging to the corner. Good look for Boone. She buries it from 3.
They're going to need to get some of those good looks. Kentucky is. And Obi set a terrific hammer screen there, so that flare screen, so that they could get that look on the backside. And Ryan, we're seeing right here from Kentucky, 2-3 zone. Kenny Brooks told us he's going to have to mix up his defense partly just because to keep the players' legs, because they played so many games in the last couple days.
And Dawn Staley anticipated that as well. McDaniel, no, on a 3. She said she expects them to play a lot of zone, that she didn't think they'd be able to hang with her team man-to-man for a 40-minute game after having played back-to-back days entering this one. Key, good twist inside and finish. Tiani Key, very impressive. 6'5" big, has been a huge part of Kentucky's success. When they struggled in the middle of the SEC season, it correlated with Key going out missing 6 games. Raven Johnson drains the 3.
South Carolina is going to get more looks from the three-point line now that Kentucky is in that zone. Important for Raven Johnson to step into that one as confidently as she did.
Morgan got fouled and will shoot 2. This is the final weekend of the men's college basketball regular season. We've got some great rivalry matchups for you Saturday on ESPN and the ESPN app. Number 5, Florida and Kentucky at 4 Eastern. Then number 1, Duke hosts number 17, North Carolina at 6:30. Then it's Auburn, and number 16, Alabama at 8:30 in the night is capped off by number 10, Texas Tech and BYU. Tessa Johnson picking up her first personal as Morgan sinks the free throw. One of the things that Kenny Brooks was talking to us about with Tony Morgan is, you know, he had said, and he said, I think it was one of my better lines. And he said it like that. I said, don't try and fill Georgia's shoes, bring your own shoes, when she was coming here. And he said, what's great is, he said, look, I had such a relationship with Georgia, and she's such a great point guard. Of course, I'm going to reference her a lot. But he said, I love that Tony's been receptive to those references, to that perspective. He said, a lot of great players coming here with their own success could want to shrug that off or be offended by that. He said, no, you know, when I've referred to her in different things, Tony's been great, and we've really been on the same page in a hurry.
Said we've got a blueprint of how a point guard can do it, as with Kenny Brooks as the coach, and it's helpful to follow that blueprint.
Raven Johnson has had such an efficient season, off to a good start today. The SEC Defensive Player of the Year. Dawn Staley just glowed talking about how proud she is of Raven, her perseverance, her season. Key doesn't get the roll, rebound bounces around. Strack has it on the interior, fades away and drops it in.
Last time South Carolina offensively against the zone, they went late into the shot clock, so playing the zone has already slowed down the quarter court pace for Kentucky.
1:10 to go in this first quarter. McDaniel cuts to the D, hooks it up and off. Offensive rebound, Okad gets fouled by Strack, and that'll be the first personal on Clara Strack. Or will they instead? Ooh, they're going to give it to Carroll instead.
Raven Johnson, the last possession, shot clock going down, just a tough finish. And then Kentucky does a really good job. If one player cannot corral the offensive board, just keeping it alive and hoping one of your teammates gets it. That happened there. Strack able to then drain the little fadeaway.
So the foul goes against Carroll, which I think Kentucky might have caught a break there, because it looked like Strack had come down on the arm of Okad. And obviously Kentucky needs to keep Strack out of foul trouble. Their best player, they want to keep her on the floor. 20-16, South Carolina leads it under a minute to go in this first. Here's Key. McDaniels had some nice moments in this first quarter. Edwards running the floor and reversing it in. 7 first quarter points for Joyce Edwards, who had a season-low 9 against Kentucky on Sunday. Strack fading, taking short. Okad the rebound, and South Carolina can hold for a final shot.
That was excellent defense by Joyce Edwards, that last possession.
Latson takes it early, can't hit. Edwards the rebound. South Carolina fortunate there, as that shot was taken way too early with a shot clock turned off. McDaniel dances in, can't finish, and that'll do it for the first quarter. Both teams shoot it pretty well. South Carolina A 6-point lead after one in the quarterfinals.
Joyce Edwards simply runs the floor every single time. She's finishing on the defensive end. She's finishing on the offensive end.
South Carolina has 9 SEC tournament titles since 2015. Now you see no one else even with 2 over that time.
I mean, just the way South Carolina has dominated the conference and dominated in a lot of ways this tournament. Their fans have certainly dominated the arena the past 2 years when you and I have been here.
Boone can't hit the 3. Here's Edwards again running out and able to draw the foul. It'll be on Morgan. Free throws here for Edwards as we check in with Holly.
Well, coming out of South Carolina's huddle, that is exactly what Dawn Staley asked her team to do. She said, I want you to get the ball and run out. We have got to do everything. It's about the pace that you're playing right now. You saw Joyce Edwards. They took that and gunned it down. Good things happen when you're going that quick, especially against a team that's played 3 straight days.
And another thing to keep in mind, even if Joyce Edwards had not gotten the pass thrown to her, the defense has to keep up with her because she's running the floor. So even if she's not rewarded with the pass and doesn't get an opportunity to score, the wear down effect as your defender has to keep up with your pace continues throughout the game.
That foul, the first on Tony Morgan. Meanwhile, how about Edwards already has matched her point total from Sunday against Kentucky, and South Carolina has already surpassed the amount of fast break points they had on Sunday. Key gives it up. Here's Morgan entering, dishing. Strack gets space. Can't hit that 3. Key, the offensive rebound, put it down. Did not have the space to do that. Easy steal for Edwards. McKeer on the drive, the dish. O'Cott lays it in.
This defensive possession, just keep your eyes on Joyce Edwards. The last possession, she fought Clara Strack, didn't let her get the basketball, helped off on dribble penetration, then was able to get back and corral the defensive board. She is working defensively.
Hassett gives it up to Strack. Key trying to find position. Key gets inside, can't finish. O'Cott the rebound. Here's McDaniel dishing ahead. Maddie McDaniel getting good run for South Carolina. Effective minutes. Edwards can't finish. Strack there to alter it. 10-point South Carolina lead. 8:30 to go, second quarter. Quarterfinal action of the SEC tournament. 3 more games to come today from Greenville. Hassett lost her footing and traveled as Kentucky turns it over.
You know, we're talking about Joyce Edwards' defense, but the wings for South Carolina as well, their guards have not given Kentucky any easy looks from the perimeter. We saw that one off of the flare screen in the first quarter, but that's been it.
6 turnovers now for Kentucky. This is one of the better teams in the nation at protecting the basketball. 15th fewest turnovers in the country, just 12.5 per game. In yesterday's win against Georgia, they had just 8.
Kentucky in a 3-2 zone now.
Edwards in the center of it. Picking her way through. O'Cott has 3 on her, gets denied, and that's going to be a held ball. Possession arrow belongs to South Carolina. And Alicia Tornabez will check in for the Gamecocks, the 6'7" French freshman.
So Holly started the broadcast talking about, you know, Kentucky and their length. Well, how about the size of South Carolina in their front court right now? 6'6" and 6'7".
Yeah, O'Cott and Tornabez. Here's Latson. Finds Tornabez. Her jumper won't go. Some really good passes from Tania Latson in this first half.
One area of her game that's really grown this season in a South Carolina uniform.
Another Kentucky turnover, their 7th. O'Cott giving space, connects! She has become a big-time threat from 3. Now 8 for her last 11 from downtown.
Okot coming out, switching onto a guard, able to corral the steal, and then the other way, 6-6, fake to the side, no one there. She remains on fire.
Plenty to talk about coming up on the Sargento halftime report. UCLA in trouble right now in the Big Ten tournament. We'll show you that one, plus talk plenty about this game. Medina Okot, 100% from 3.
Look, we know Medina is a three-point shooter, but Joyce Edwards is playing out of her mind how fast she is and affecting everything.
Their elite ability to protect the rim allows the perimeters to stay on. There's nowhere to pass it, even when you get to the rim. It's amazing to watch.
We'll see if Kentucky can make a run here. Ryan, back to you.
All right, Alyssa, thank you very much. And I think Coach Neighbors is saying exactly what you were just telling me in the break, Rebecca, just how impressive South Carolina's defense has been.
And now we see for the first time this game, they're in a zone, and you see their length. I love it when they have their hands up. Look at the space South Carolina is taking up with their length right now in this zone.
Hassett, a 3 is good. Amelia Hassett, who set a single-season school record, now 89 made threes on the season.
And only the second really open look for Kentucky so far in this half.
And it's a 10-0 South Carolina run. Here's Latson. That's a travel. And South Carolina turns it over. Just the second turnover of this first half for the Gamecocks. Morgan played 39 minutes yesterday, dumps it into Strack.
South Carolina back in their man-to-man, just played that one possession of zone.
Morgan has it taken away again. Edwards in transition, threw it off the backboard, intended for Latson. Obi the other way. Strack, baseline jumper, won't go, and tipped out of bounds. McKeer and Tornabees were both there and knocked it out of bounds, so another chance here for Kentucky. Kentucky has already matched their turnover total from last night's win against Georgia. 8 turnovers in this first half. And make it 9. As that is going to be an offensive foul on Asia Boone, her second personal. Dee Kantner, our rules analyst with us, has given us the affirmative head nod, which means good call. Something all officials out on the floor pine for. The Dee Kantner head nod. As Edwards can't finish in and over the back from Tornabees, who has a lot of length. And you know, Dee, I want to ask you about this because sometimes this happens, a taller, longer player can go over the back sometimes, and sometimes just looks like they're reaching, but in this case, it's the left hand grab there.
I believe that's what the official called, but that's one of the things. You've got to love when everybody goes over the back. Well, sometimes they are literally over the back because they're much taller and they're just tipping it out.
Right, you're looking for contact, not just reaching over.
A foul equals illegal contact.
Strack twisting, banks it in. Thank you, Dee. Edwards, no. Tornabees got fouled. And that'll be on Hassett. That is her first. Alicia Tornabees will shoot 2. Well, Tornabees, you know what she could do? She could do this. Out in transition, throwing it down. The first French woman to dunk in a game. Alicia Tornabees, who misses the second free throw, throwing it down easily in transition there.
Her upside is so exciting. She has great stroke out to 3 as well.
Boone, short. Raven Johnson zipping up the floor. Spinning, dishing, Tessa connects.
Tessa Johnson had a clean look because Raven Johnson probed, got 2 feet in the paint, and then delivered the pass perfectly.
Tessa was 2 for 10 from 3 against Kentucky on Sunday. Her last 3 games, just 4 for 21. Makes that one there. Obi a 3, won't go. Edwards the rebound. Been a really dynamic opening half from Joyce Edwards. Both ends of the floor. Tessa leaning and can't get it to go, but was fouled. Tessa Johnson will shoot 2.
Raven Johnson, watch her as she navigates. Tessa goes to the corner, 2 feet in the paint. Just the perfect amount of time, make Hassett bite and come in and help on her, and then she delivers the basketball to Tessa.
Hassett picks up her second. You see the numbers for Tessa Johnson. 21 points, 4 of 5 shooting. The who can guard Tessa Johnson, Kim Mulkey viral clip. And since then, a struggle for Tessa, but Dawn Staley telling us before the game, we want her to keep shooting. Her mechanics have been a little sped up, according to Dawn, but when she's open, we want her shooting.
And she said we want her to get to the free throw line too, because that's a place where you can see your stroke and your shot go through, and it just gives you a different feeling of confidence.
And that's what she just did. She said, even if you don't make the layup, don't worry about that. Get yourself to the line. Another Kentucky turnover, their 10th.
Edwards just did a really nice job getting around Strack to steal that basketball.
4 minutes to go in this first half. Johnson off to McDaniel. Back to Tessa, her 3. You bet!
Kentucky had to go back to that man-to-man a few possessions ago, and still with a defender in her face. Tough look from Tessa Johnson.
Largest lead of the day for South Carolina on a 9-0 run here. The cushion is 17. Key off to Morgan. No. Rebound deflected to McDaniel with haste. Johnson gonna drive it this time.
Point to this game, how Tessa got her groove back, Ryan. We're here in March.
Tournament Tessa, 12 points in this first half. Morgan can't finish. McDaniel again with pace. Raven Johnson, the leaner, won't go. But I mean, you could see, and you can really see it from the early minutes, South Carolina is just thrusting up the floor every possession. Morgan working behind Strack. Shot clock down to 5. Morgan got fouled on the reach. It'll stay here.
Tessa Johnson, there's good contest. Key is right there with her 6'4" length, and then Johnson with the attack to the basket. I don't think he's saying, can anybody guard Tessa, or who can guard Tessa, but something maybe in that family.
I think that's the universal symbol for it. 10 points in the quarter for Tessa Johnson. Morgan, no on a jumper, but the follow is good as Obi lays it in. Winner of this game will play the winner of LSU Oklahoma. That's the second game today, up next on ESPN. Championship of the SEC tournament Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Tessa Johnson into the paint. Tried to get a foul, instead got blocked, but Dowda is there for the follow.
South Carolina's defense has just been smothering, and Kentucky can run some pretty sets, and they get players who cut, and they move the basketball. You heard Coach Neighbors talk about it in the halftime pop. South Carolina's taken all of that away.
Key buries the jumper. Deani Key, who's a senior, has a lot to like about a potential development project in the pros, as Okot banks it in. Seen Key this year expand her game a little bit.
Her best basketball is ahead of her.
Yes.
She still has a lot of area to grow, but 6'5", long. She can rebound the heck out of the basketball.
Can guard on the perimeter
Yes.
for a big. And a whistle going to stay here. Hey, let's take a look at the ACC Women's Tournament bracket. It continues. Quarterfinals today. Duke and Clemson currently on ESPN2. NC State and Notre Dame will be on ACC Network, as will UNC Virginia Tech, and you got Louisville and Syracuse. How about Okot already almost has a double-double? South Carolina has played so well in this first half. Carroll gives it up. Key, center of the lane, uses her size, couldn't finish on Johnson.
Kentucky tried to run that similar set with the flare screen to the corner, but Tessa Johnson read it beautifully, so there's no good look for Kentucky that time.
South Carolina with 13 assists on 16 made field goals. And Dawn Staley was trying to call timeout. Jetta Cross was in conversation with Kenny Brooks. Now she's smiling, saying, "I'm sorry, I didn't hear you." South Carolina, a 19-point lead over Kentucky. 40.5 seconds to go in this first half. Medina Okot already with her 21st double-double this season. Tessa Johnson has outscored Kentucky by herself in this second.
Just simply come alive, and not only her ability to hit from deep, we've seen her then drive to the basket, get to the free throw line. She's having herself a half.
And now Junior, who was so key in the national championship game her freshman year against Iowa. Okot moves away, couldn't drop it in. Key the rebound, and Kentucky can hold for a final shot. Raven Johnson pressuring Morgan. 7 seconds left in the half. Morgan. Sidestepping jumper is good for Morgan, and that will do it in the first half. South Carolina, a 17-point lead. The Gamecocks with 13 assists. Tessa Johnson, 12 points. Okot, a double-double. Dawn is with Holly Rowe.
Well, Coach Staley, the pace has been fantastic, but the pressure on defense, how those two things impacted this first half?
I mean, that's who we are. I think when we play at that pace, when we can make people play a little bit faster than they want to play, it causes a little bit of disruption. And then we want to push pace, whether they make shots or miss shots. We want to get the ball down the floor. They're playing a lot of zone, so hopefully we beat the zone down the floor, get some clean looks.
How is it to have Tournament Tessa reintroduce herself today?
She's mixing it up. She's not just out there shooting threes, although she's shooting them today and making them. She's getting to the free throw line. She's driving the ball to the basket. She has all that in her skill set. She fails to utilize all of them at different times of the season.
It's okay to bring it out in March, though, right?
Hey, Tournament Tessa. I love it.
Thank you, Coach Staley. Thank you, Holly. 17-point South Carolina lead over Kentucky in this quarterfinal matchup. Now let's send it to the Sargento halftime report. Alyssa Lang, Steffi Sorensen, and Mike Neighbors. Welcome back to ESPN's Champ Week, presented by Principal. You are watching the 2026 SEC Women's Tournament. Taking a look at our bracket with the championship coming Sunday, 3 Eastern on ESPN. Next game up today, the second of 4, will be LSU and Oklahoma. South Carolina, 17-point lead on Kentucky. Ryan Rucco alongside the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo. South Carolina, they just played a very complete first half on both ends with a lot of big-time contributors.
Yeah, they were certainly stifling on the defensive end of the floor, and I was so impressed by Joyce Edwards and what she was able to do. We're going to take a look at this play specifically. There she is. She was on fire on the defensive end, and it wasn't just keeping her player from catching the ball or keeping her player from scoring. On Strack here, she helps off on Morgan, then she pushes Strack out of the lane, doesn't let her get an easy post entry, comes over on the help side once again. Ball right there, reaches in on Key, able to get the steal and then lead the break the other way on this possession. You see where Strack has to catch the ball out of the comfort zone, switches out on the guard, keeps her in front of her, high hands, gets the steal going the other way, and once again, this time, getting around Strack, getting the steal, pushing pace. And how about offensively? Tessa Johnson found herself in that first half, and you heard Dawn Staley talk about it in the interview with Holly. It wasn't just making threes, it was attacking the rim. She got to the free throw line. She was really good and confident those first 20 minutes.
Contested 24 of 27 Kentucky field goal attempts, and South Carolina shot so well off their passes. Longest deficit at halftime for Kentucky in a couple of years. Let's check in with Holly Rowe.
Catching up with Kenny Brooks for Kentucky at the half. He said, listen, Joyce Edwards is doing a great job on Claire, but so is their whole team. She is the focus for them. So that means other players are open, and they've got to cut and dive, and they have got to be more active. And then when I addressed the 10 first half turnovers, he said, Holly, honestly, we're tired. We're doing stuff out there that is very out of character for us. I've told the team we've just got to stay together and try to get better here in this second half. They understand this is a tall mountain ahead, third game in 3 days.
No doubt, Holly. And for Kentucky, you know, beyond the stakes of here at the SEC tournament and obviously wanting to win it, it's an interesting time for them when you look at their NCAA tournament positioning, because as of now, according to Charlie Cream, he has them in the top 16 after yesterday's win, and thus hosting in the first and second rounds, but that's not a lock yet. There's still a couple of teams that could interfere with that positioning for Kentucky. As Latson fouls Morgan.
See Latson attacking the basket, and then she's done a really good job of making the pass here today. Latson goes down. Joyce Edwards, come over. That's what you do. You help your teammate up, and then you sprint the other way.
4 assists now for Latson. Edwards has 13 points after she had a season-low 9 on Sunday against Kentucky. Key, no.
Interesting, though. First 3 possessions of the half, and Kentucky has gone to Key.
Johnson again. (7-0) South Carolina run, and Johnson is locked in here in Greenville. 15 points. She's 3 of 4 from 3. Strack, nice move to finish.
Strack's really good when she can face up like she did and sort of assess where the defense is.
Edwards, push shot is good.
South Carolina has just shared the basketball beautifully here today. 16 assists on their 17 assists on their 20 made field goals.
Morgan behind the back. Morgan, and a whistle underneath as Raven Johnson and Strack got into it. Raven, a big smile on her face as she was trying to hang with the big.
Tessa Johnson running to the left corner, and the ball delivered beautifully by Latson. And then the drive, penetrate, kick to Edwards. Raven Johnson got stuck on the big on this end and just got low and moved Strack out of the way. Okay to get the foul called. She knew she was in trouble.
Boone, oh, nice look. And Obi lays it in. Beautiful dish there from Asia Boone.
When things are working well for Kentucky, that's what you see, is moving and cutting and sharing the ball, and South Carolina has just been able to take that away for most of the game.
Yeah, they are 23rd in the nation in assists, Kentucky. Here's Johnson driving at the pull-up, rims off. And it's going to be South Carolina basketball as Okot creates another opportunity.
Just screen and roll. The ball delivered really nicely up high to get one of the few easier looks that Kentucky's been able to get today by Jordan Obi.
Okon already a double-double today. Nice footwork, couldn't quite flip it in. 10 points, 12 rebounds from Medina Okon. Morgan, a little too much on it. Edwards comes up with a steal. Edwards to the rim. Another Kentucky turnover. 11 on the day. And make it 12.
Joyce Edwards at 6'2", such great instincts, and here is just mishandled basketball. She gets it, and she is incredibly comfortable pushing pace.
Okon on a nice delivery from Johnson. Timeout, Kentucky. South Carolina pouring it on here in the quarterfinals.
South Carolina has been on fire and stayed on fire. Caught wide open, certainly delivering there.
Make some magic. Make some noise. One stage, everything on the line.
Show what you got.
Well, Championship Sunday coverage begins at 1 Eastern on ESPN. Meanwhile, up next here on ESPN, Reagan Beers, Aaliyah Chavez, Oklahoma taking on LSU. The 4-5 matchup in this SEC tournament. As Okon comes up with a steal. That is the 13th Kentucky turnover, and now Latson fouled. And she will go to the line. Heard Holly say it before. Kenny Brooks telling her at the half, Holly, we are just tired. That's where the turnovers are coming from. And no doubt that's playing a role as Aaliyah Chavez rocking a nice Kobe hoodie. Walking in, the freshman star. Meanwhile, third foul called on Hassett.
The turnovers. Kentucky fatigue, but also a huge part of it is South Carolina defense.
Yeah.
They do this to a lot of teams. That last possession, Kentucky trying to run some elbow action with some screens. South Carolina's ability to just switch out and nothing, will allow nothing to be easy.
Their defense has been terrific. Kentucky, one of the better teams in the nation, protecting the basketball. Not today. Boone gets denied by McKeer. The wingspan in all its glory. And then Edwards kicks it out of bounds.
The glory of the wingspan.
If you got it, use it.
That's right. I got it. You don't got it. She's definitely got it. I mean, look at this length. Oof, just right there, fingertip block, and then able to secure the ball as well.
South Carolina, 19-2 edge in points off of turnovers, an 11-0 edge in fast break points as Key can't rim in the mid-range.
Like I say, the advantage in the wingspan impact.
Oh, well, that's
a next level stat that we'll probably see at some point.
I'm sure AI will get us there. Key. Morgan. Three to shoot, gives it up. Key, a three is good. Such a sweet looking stroke for Tiani Key, and that is just her second made three of the season.
Look terrific.
Makes you wonder why there aren't more.
There probably will be in her future. And that possession was kind of an example of what's happened a lot with Kentucky in terms of Morgan having to just create and figure out a way to get a look for her teammates.
South Carolina, 23-point lead on Kentucky. Well, now for experts at work, brought to you by Principal. How about Joyce Edwards in this third quarter and really all day?
Really all day, but these are the highlights from the third where she's just been able to finish inside. Talked about her effort on the defensive end as well and using her speed to get out in transition.
Oh, yeah. Time to dance and celebrate the performance of Joyce Edwards as we check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, I personally think that Joyce Edwards gets her moves from her mom, Rashida. You've been up here grooving today. I love it. Did she get her moves from you?
Yes, well, not athletically, but her dancing she definitely got from me.
Okay, so I heard a great interview from Autumn Johnson that said Joyce told her she used to do ballet, swimming, flag football, every different sport, and you made her choose, like, you got to really focus on basketball. How did you narrow down everything she was doing?
Well, she wanted to play another sport. And she was actually in challenge soccer as well as AAU basketball, which goes on at the same time. So that's very difficult. So I'm like, Joyce, how long are we going to do this? And she ended up choosing basketball. We went to a soccer camp, which recruits people to play soccer in college, and she told them she wanted to play basketball.
Well, she's got the great footwork. We see this overall athleticism, but I'm just going to break it down. The dance moves, it's all you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Was ballet a real option for her?
Yes. I mean, she was beautiful. She was so tall, so I think it helped her with her balance because she was tall from the beginning. Like, when I tried to register my oldest son, they thought I was registering her, and she was only 2 years old. So she needed it to help with her posture and her flexibility, and I think it helped her in every sport.
All right. Well, Mom is an all-around helper here. Thank you so much, and thank you for dancing with me.
Thank you. Go Cox.
All right, thank you very much. Rashida and Holly. As McKeer can't hit the three.
One of my favorite things about this time of year is when we get a chance to see some of the parents as they're watching their children.
Yeah, really cool. Strack buries the three. I mean, it was also cool to see Holly and Rashida dancing up on the scoreboard.
On the jumbotron.
Yeah, in the break there. Raven Johnson gets fouled by Strack. Here were the dance moves of, yeah, Holly and Rashida. Oh, yeah, all right. Very nice. Very nice. 3:45 to go in this third, and South Carolina with a 20-point lead. Winner will face the winner of LSU Oklahoma. That game is next here on ESPN. 4 quarterfinal games today from Greenville. McDaniel flips it in.
I think Maddie McDaniel is going to play a very important role for the South Carolina team, continuing to go forward. She has been so good for them in terms of her assist to turnover, the spark she can bring in off the bench. She's just a little bit different from the other guards.
Carroll can't hit the three. Morgan peering inside. Morgan accelerates and lays it in, plus the foul. Nice move there from Tony Morgan.
See McDaniel just going through. I mean, that is a tough, tough finish. Strack has a lot of inches on her, stays straight up. She just did a little flex when she came down with it.
Second foul on Miriam Dowda. Is Morgan. Misses the free throw. McKeer flings it ahead. McDaniel can't lay it in. Strack comes down with a rebound for Kentucky.
Great example, though. Coach Neighbors talked about it at the half. The get-ahead outlet passes by South Carolina.
What a rejection from Raven Johnson, the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. Oh, God. A little out of control with the handle, and it ends up out of bounds.
So on one end of the floor, we got the guard blocking the shot, and then the big girl's going to try to lead the break going the other way. A little roll reversal. Although we see Raven Johnson do that a lot with her long arm. She is a very good shot blocker.
One of the things that Dawn Staley was talking about is how she was so happy Raven was rewarded with the SEC Defensive Player of the Year, because she said, you know, oftentimes those awards, it's more about block totals, steal totals, than just kind of the complete picture of you as a defender. And She thought it was great that Raven got the recognition for how complete of a defender she is without necessarily leading the conference in any of those statistical categories.
And there's some really good defenders in the SEC.
Edwards got fouled on the floor on the delivery from Johnson. Raven Johnson, also one of the all-time winners in Columbia. Career wins, 138 of them, third in school history. Victoria Saxton and Bree Hall, the only players with more as we check in with Holly.
Well, talking to Dawn Staley, she said, I am just so proud and so happy for Raven Johnson. This is a young woman who tore her ACL coming in, had to sit her freshman year. She gained a ton of weight. She's had to lose more than 40 pounds, comes back a sophomore year, and even though she has success, that famous moment where Caitlin Clark waves her off because she's not a good enough shooter, well, she fights back and she works even harder. And all through these ups and downs and roller coasters of her career, this young woman has continued to show up. She's never given up, and she just continues to be a real light and positive impact on this team, both on and off the court.
A story of incredible perseverance, resiliency from Raven Johnson. It's not young being a young woman in the social media era on a highly visible team. The kind of comments you can receive, and she has navigated it and having the best season of her career. Meanwhile, Oklahoma and LSU both locked in. They're up next.
Until this year, Raven Johnson was a career 30% three-point shooter. This season, 38. She's just continued to work and grind and improve her game.
And the right decision for her to come back for the additional season at South Carolina.
She's worked herself into being a pro, for sure.
Obi fading and draining. 6 points for Jordan Obi off the bench. 1:40 to go in this third. McKeer finds Edwards. Edwards leaves a little short. Carroll the rebound. Look at a push. Here's Boone. Asia Boone gets it to Carroll in the corner. Gilvin off to Key. Key swivels it up, couldn't finish it. Edwards knocks it away. Raven Johnson leading Edwards. What a beautiful dish and finish. Edwards with 21 points. No on the three from Carroll. Edwards with 12 in the quarter for South Carolina. Here's Edwards. Finding Dowda. Her three is good. It's all going right for the Gamecocks. Key gets fouled by Dowda. Deanna Key will shoot two.
How about South Carolina sprinting towards the semifinals? Watch this. It's like 4 players in a lane in a race. Joyce Edwards beats them all down the floor. Perfectly placed pass by Raven Johnson. Best illustration of the track meet that South Carolina has tried to make this here today.
Edwards checking out. Had just 9 against Kentucky on Sunday. Wow, has it been a different story today. 16 of her 21 in the paint. We've called a lot of Joyce Edwards games over the last 2 seasons, Rebecca. Today, I think, is the best we've ever seen her. And we've seen her play incredibly well.
And it's not just about her efficiency on the offensive end of the floor. It's her relentless way she's run the floor. It's how she's defended both her player and on the help side.
Johnson gives it up, turns it over. That'll do it for the third. South Carolina increases the lead. A 23-point edge headed to the fourth, looking to punch their ticket to the semifinals.
Just like you're supposed to act like you've been here before doesn't mean you can't enjoy it along the way. Smiles from South Carolina.
talent is, how formidable the opponents are in this conference. All top 5 teams lost games, and all but South Carolina lost multiple games.
I mean, it's ridiculous that this game we're watching is a quarterfinal game. That LSU and Oklahoma is a quarterfinal game.
Right.
The high level of talent in this conference has made this tournament very fun.
Yeah, for most conferences, that would be a semi or a championship. I also like kind of the Toy Story feel to the blocks there. Very nice. Are you not a Toy Story fan? You know, our company does.
I love the blocks.
Yeah, okay, good, yeah.
Plus, I just, even with my kids when they were little, I like playing with the blocks.
Ladson lays it in, plus the foul. And Tanaya Ladson, a chance for 3. Let's check in right now with Holly Rowe.
Well, Ryan, today we're in Greenville, South Carolina, and something really special happened this past week where Dawn Staley was able to attend the memorial service and the processional for a Greenville, South Carolina native, Dr. Jesse Jackson, who was obviously one of the great civil rights activists and leaders in our country, someone I looked up to for a long time and got to know him through his love of the WNBA. I would see him courtside at games, and I just feel like this was so special at the State House here in Columbia that this Greenville native was honored, and Dawn Staley was asked to be there in that family processional and people who were so important in his life.
Really wonderful stuff, Holly. And a terrific honor for sure. Dawn's team with a 26-point lead in this 4th quarter. Here's Tornabees. You know, the other thing this cushion allows South Carolina to do, Rebecca, is be, somewhat selective with their minutes if they want to. They play such a deep rotation that's not a primary concern for them, but especially given that, you're going to play 3 games in 3 days if you're going to win the championship here, gives you a chance to get a little extra rest. Lob it in, Hassett trying to flag it down. "17 turnovers now for Kentucky. Ladson forces it up, got it on the rim, nothing more. Here comes Morgan, cradling, dishing, Hassett. She got it on a 3. Hassett's 3rd 3 on 3 attempts. Just hasn't gotten a ton of great open looks today against the South Carolina D.
And that was completely created by Morgan with the dribble penetration and kick.
Tornabees back iron it off. Tony Morgan dancing up the floor, had it deflected, taken away, turnover number 18. Good D from McDaniel and McKeer. McKeer, a little shake. Ladson into the paint, gives it up. McDaniel burrows and gets fouled, and Maddie McDaniel grabbing at her thumb. Will shoot 2, but might have jammed a thumb there on the drive.
You see her cradling it like a running back as she goes in and gets hit on the arm. Immediately goes to reach for that thumb. Did you see her look over the bench though, say, "I'm all right"?
Yep.
Players want to stay in the game.
She is giving them some excellent minutes here in the quarterfinals. Hey, coming up, 5:30 Eastern on the SEC Network, the Nothing But Net crew will have a complete breakdown of our game with highlights, analysis, and interviews with coaches and players. A reminder that following this one, it'll be LSU and Oklahoma here on ESPN, and then 2 more quarterfinal games to come today from Greenville. The championship of the SEC tournament will be Sunday, 3 Eastern on ESPN. Hassett again buries a 3. Her 4th on 4 attempts, and Kenny Brooks will take a timeout. will step aside. South Carolina in control. Fourth quarter action of this quarterfinal matchup. LSU up next. It's also dance. Oh yeah. Holly and Rashida Choice Edwards' mother breaking it down here in Greenville. Dawn Staley's team has performed incredibly well at this tournament since she took over the program. You see how there was virtually no success at the SEC tournament before Dawn Staley took over the Gamecocks, and since 34 wins in this tournament and 9 titles, including the last 3. And a little more added to the cushion for South Carolina.
What a nice take by McKeer, just driving the right baseline and then finishing on the other side of the rim.
Boone buries the 3. I'm going to say this for Kentucky too, Rebecca. You know, today, not their best showing. Talking with Kenny Brooks before the game, you got a sense he knew it was going to be tough for them today, given how tired they are off 2 games over the last 2 days and having played Sunday against this South Carolina team. But they're an interesting, talented, dangerous team that can shoot the basketball come tournament time.
Yeah, certainly. They've got Strack inside and Key as well, who can just own the paint at times, surrounded by shooters. It hasn't been easy for them today because of South Carolina's defense, but they are a talented crew who could have a lot of success come NCAA tournament.
And Kenny was talking about, I say, remember, we were off to a great start. Then they lost Tiani Key for 6 games, kind of faltered there. Then they had an incredibly difficult schedule when she got back. But they are a live team going into the NCAA tournament.
You just saw another drive and then assist by Tanaya Latson. Latson has been quiet in terms of her scoring. 7 points today on only 5 field goal attempts, but holy cow, she's been impactful. She's done a terrific job of facilitating for her team. It's one of the reasons she came to South Carolina, was to expand different areas of her game, and just watch her right here.
Wow.
A beautiful, beautiful dime to McKeer.
Right, if you were thinking, oh, Tanaya Latson's just a scorer, watching her at Florida State and seeing her lead the nation in scoring, you know, watching her at South Carolina, and even if you just watch today, you realize, oh no, this is a player who can really facilitate play make. She's made 4 or 5 passes today that make you go, wow.
And much improved this season on the defensive end of the floor as well, the way she can navigate on-ball screening action defensively.
Here's McDaniel giving it up. McKeer lurching in and laying it home. Just feels like everybody who has touched the floor today for South Carolina has played well. Morgan dipping into the paint, will lay it in.
Morgan's had success doing that all season long against most opponents. Just her quickness off the drive, finishing whether she's going right or left.
Tornabees, the turnaround. Off the mark.
The turnaround?
Yeah, you know what? That really would have been the way to do it. You want to take a couple of possessions of play-by-play?
No, just save it for a future game.
Yeah. Hassett, another for Hassett. What a bright spot she has been in a tough performance thus far for Kentucky. 5 for 5 from 3 for Amelia Hassett. Her career high is 6.
She had 6 in the first round of the SEC tournament.
As Latson able to finish plus the foul.
Just really smart by Latson. 5'9", gets inside, sees bigs coming, shot blockers, just give them a head fake, the pump fake, you know they're going to leave their feet.
Let's check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, you were talking about this a little earlier about Tania Latson coming to South Carolina to show pros that she had a complete game. And I just want to remind people, she has led the nation in scoring. Last year, she is a prolific scorer, but she said, I just wanted to show that I'm more than just that. Show them what a good defensive player I am. Show them that I can share the ball. And even though she's like the second leading scorer on this team, she has shown all that. Oh, there, she's just gone down with, somebody's just gone down with an injury.
Yeah, thank you, Holly. McKeer shaken up. And she now is going to go back down. Agat McKeer. Let's take a look at what happened with that left ankle turning a little bit as she tumbles to the hardwood. See that left ankle just, yep, turns for Agat McKeer. And she's communicating non-verbally with Dawn Staley as Dawn was asking her, you want to come out or stay in? But she's limping pretty good there. McKeer will stay in for the time being. Isla McDowell getting some minutes now for South Carolina. Latson lost the handle. Hassett looking for help, finds it in Boone. Sidestepping three is good for Asia Boone as that gets the deficit under 20. Boone 3 of 6 from 3. And again, just seeing Hassett, seeing Boone, the threats they are from 3. You know, knowing the kind of point guard Morgan is, the interior presences that Strack and Key have, as well as how they can play on the perimeter. You can see how, you know, Kentucky's going to be a tough out for anybody in the NCAA tournament.
And these are the kind of moments that like stay in your brain as a player. And even though you're not going to win this game, you have these memories going forward. All right, I felt that success, I saw that success, and it just stays with you, especially this time of year where you're gonna have this really long break until the NCAA tournament starts.
As of now, Kentucky projected to be a 4 seed according to our Charlie Green. Charlie has told us that is not a lock. Obi, little push shot, won't go. Down to the rebound. For South Carolina, they have been able to distribute their minutes up and down their roster nicely, knowing if they have it their way, we'll have 2 more games, one tomorrow and one Sunday. Gilvin in transition, Euros, can't drop it in. The get ahead, Latson waits and gets fouled. Tania Latson to the line with 2:16 to go in the fourth. Let's check back in with Holly.
Well, you guys were talking about the change in this program by Dawn Staley, and one of the things that we can point out is the attendance. South Carolina fans show up and show out. They have set the record again for the national attendance, almost 16,000 people per game. They now lead the nation 6 straight years in attendance, and this is noon on a Friday. On a work day, and this place is packed. These fans show up, and they are once again the nation's leaders. Just one more cool thing that Dawn Staley has helped to build here at South Carolina.
It is amazing, Holly. You know, no matter where South Carolina plays, they always have a massive following in the building, and obviously their home arena is an incredibly special atmosphere. Foul here will keep things with Kentucky.
You talked about, you know, South Carolina able to play a lot of players significant minutes, and this is their hope that it's the first game of 3 in 3 days. But also, they had success pushing pace. They had success against man defense. They had success against zone defense. They've seen a variety of things. They've had to defend a certain way, and Dawn Staley has to feel really good about how her team has come out to perform here today at the start of what they hope is a championship run.
Yeah, you see the difference. We just showed you on our little score bug that stat that popped out, the South Carolina bench, and how much more effective it has been in this game compared to Sunday when they didn't get a single point off the bench. 19 today. Latson. Tornabees got fouled, a little push from behind. South Carolina in the bonus, so free throws here for Tornabees. It's interesting what you were talking about before, Rebecca, though, how these kind of games stick with you more as a player and kind of some of the confidence builders you can get. Talked about it from Kentucky's standpoint, some of their individuals, and for South Carolina as a team to be able to face a few different things in this game and handle it so well, the way that can be another building block of confidence for an already confident group.
And you just want to be on your scent, right, as you're approaching tournament time. And this is tournament time, but South Carolina looking really good. I mean, they didn't have any kind of a slow start. You know, Kentucky's played 2 games before today. South Carolina had not in this tournament, but man, they were ready from the jump.
And if you think about the premier powers in women's college basketball, that is a hallmark, that they're playing their best basketball this time of year. We see it with Dawn and Gino every single year with South Carolina and UConn. It feels like they're always ascending heading into March. Latson gets it in. Tornabees gets fouled.
And I love that Tanaya Latson, she's not in there being like, okay, now it's time for me to go for mine. She made the right pass, got it to Tornabees. It was the right decision. You know, sometimes there's such a focus on scoring that players, even in late game, like, all right, I'm going to get mine now. We have not seen that at all with Latson.
You see it a lot on the Connecticut high school men's basketball circuit, though, don't you? Tornabees makes it a 23-point South Carolina lead. Boone, high arcing 3. That one won't go. McKeer the rebound. And under 1 minute to go in this quarterfinal matchup. A reminder, it'll be Oklahoma and LSU up next here on ESPN. And South Carolina is going to play the winner of that game tomorrow in the semis. McDowell giving it up. Dowda looking for help. 3 to shoot. McKeer will launch it. Long rebound, juggled. Gilman able to get it. McDowell ties her up. Kentucky has the possession arrow.
And also valuable minutes for McKeer at the 1.
Yeah.
You know, she's been initiating the offense the last few possessions in here for South Carolina, and that's something. We've seen her at the front of their like 1-3-1 quarter court zone, but also here initiating.
Boom. And a whistle against South Carolina with 7.1 to go. Because you play till the final whistle, right, D. Cantner? You ref till the final whistle.
Say, or you whistle till the final play.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All the way to the end for everyone.
For everyone?
Everyone.
Joyce Edwards checks in.
Just what we could have done without the whistle.
And that will do it. South Carolina with a dominant quarterfinal win over Kentucky. 87-64 the final. And for the 13th time in the last 15 seasons, the Gamecocks are headed to the SEC Tournament semifinals. Every South Carolina starter shot at 50% or better in this game. And South Carolina will meet the winner of LSU Oklahoma. That semifinal game tomorrow, 4:30 Eastern on ESPN 2. LSU Oklahoma coming up next right here on ESPN. 11 points, 6 assists from Tanaya Latson. Joyce Edwards with 21 on 8 of 12 shooting. Tessa Johnson with 15. Joyce is with Holly Ruff.
Well, Joyce, you had the toughest assignment today. Have to come out here and guard Clara Strack. How were you able to really set a tone early? You were all over the court defensively.
I mean, we knew she's one of our go-to players. I mean, obviously she's a great player, but after playing 3 games, you know, her legs a little dead. That helped me out a little bit, but just getting in her body. You know, she likes to shoot her mid-range, shoot her 3, so just make her put the ball on the ground.
Speaking of scoring, you were able to really shine today. You didn't score well Sunday against Kentucky. What was different for you today?
Just running. I got out and ran in transition.
here. We love to do that. We love to getting out, and I just got me some easy baskets.
What is it like to play in front of this crowd? I mean, this is a Friday, day one for you at the SEC tournament. What does this help you do?
I mean, it's great. We love our fans. Obviously, they're a big momentum for us. They help us so much. And, yeah, we just love them.
All right. Thank you, Joyce.
No problem. Thank you.
Oh, a wonderful performance from Joyce Edwards, South Carolina, an 87-64 win over Kentucky. For producer Kerry Callahan, director Jimmy Platt, Deke Cantner, Holly Rowe, and the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo. I'm Ryan Rucco. Get it to the studio in a moment, and then we'll have Oklahoma LSU here from Greenville. But for now, let's send it over to the studio.